It reads, giving each answer as a common fraction in its lowest terms, find the value of 5 over 8 minus 3 over 5. So 5 over 8 minus 3 over 5. So the first thing to do when subtracting fractions, you find the lowest common multiple, right? The lowest number that is exactly divisible by the denominators. So what is the lowest common multiple of 8 and 5? The lowest common multiple of 8 and 5 is 40. So you write 40 like this. Right, so 8 into 40, you get 5. And this 5 is going to multiply the 5 above. 5 into 40, you get 8, so that this 8 multiplies the 3 above. I hope you are following. 5 times 5, you get what? You get 25. Then 8 times 3, you get what? You get 24. All over to what? All over to 40. So 25 minus 24, you get 1 over 40. So 1 over 40 is your final answer on part number 1A. Then we move on to part number 1B. It reads 6 over 7 divided by 2 and 1 over 7. The first thing to do is to convert 2 and 1 over 7 as an improper fraction. So you write 6 over 7 divided by 7 times 2, you get 14 plus 1. It gives you 15 over 7. I hope you are listening, class. So whenever you want to divide fractions, you convert this division sign into multiplication sign, which will then trigger the fraction in front to become a reciprocal, whereby 15 over 7 cannot be written as 7 over 15. You can clearly notice that 7 and 7 are factors which can cancel out each other. So 7 into 7 you get 1, 7 into 7 you get 1. Then we have a number, right, which is a factor of both 6 and 15, and that number is 3. 3 into 6 you get 2, 3 into 15 you get 5. So 2 times 1, it gives you 2, right? Then 1 times 5 you get 5. So 2 over 5 is your answer on the part B. Then we move on to the last part of the question. We are given 3/4 plus 1/4 times 2 over 3. I hope you are listening. We make use of what we call the Bodmer's rule. So according to the Bodmer's rule, it means brackets of followed by division, multiplication, addition, and lastly subtraction. So I'm going to start by multiplying before addition, following the order of operators of a Bodmer's. So if you start by multiplying, it means that 3/4 and the positive sign are going to come as it is, so that you start by multiplying 1/4 and 2 over 3. Right. So 2 into 2 you get 1, 2 into 4 you get 2. 1 times 1, this is 1. Then 2 times 3, you get 6. I hope you are listening. Right. So what is the LCM of 4 and 6? For you to add, you need to identify the lowest common multiple of the denominators. And the LCM of 4 and 6 is 12. 4 into 12, you get 3. And this 3 is going to multiply the 3 above. 6 into 12, you get 2. So that this 2 multiplies the 1 above. I hope you are listening, class. 3 times 3, it produces 9. Then 2 times 1, you get 2. All over to what? All over to 12. I hope you are listening. So 9 plus 2, it produces 11, right? So your answer is 11 over 12. So we are now presenting our answers in the given spaces. The first answer is 1 over 40. Then the second answer is 2 over 5. Then the third answer is 11 over 12. Then you are home and dry. So I want you to stay tuned as we move on to question number 2. Right. We are now moving on to question number 2. It reads, express 0,016 as a common fraction in its lowest terms. Right, so to express 0,016 as a common fraction in its lowest terms, The first thing to do here is to write 16. The number that we have is 16, right? But if you notice, we have 3 decimal places. So if you have 3 decimal places, it means that 16 is going to be divided by 1000. I hope you are listening, class. Right, take for example, if you had 0,16, it means that 16 will be divided by 100. So the number of decimal places represent the number of zeros that you are going to put in front of the 1. I hope you are following, class. Right. So let us then identify the biggest number, right, that exactly divides 16 and 1000. So let's try 4. Right. So what is 4 into 16? 4 into 16, you get 4. Right. Then what is 4 into 1000? Right. The first thing to know is 4 into 100. Right. You get 25. Right. Then 4 into 0, you get 0. So 4 into 1000, you get 250. But still, 4 and 250, they have a common factor. So let us try 2. What is 2 into 4? 2 into 4, you get 2, right? How about 2 into 250? Right, you start by saying 2 into 2, you get 1. Right, 2 into 5, you get 2, remainder 1. Then 2 into 10, you get 5. So 2 into 250, you get 125. So our answer here is 2 over 125. I hope you are listening, class. Right, in its lowest terms. Then we move on to part B. 0,016. Express 0,016 correct to one significant figure. So when it comes to significant figures, zeros, the first zeros, right, are ignored when counting significant figures. So the first significant figure that we have is 1, right? And the number in front of 1 is 6, which is 5 or more, right? It means that 6 is going to add that 1 by a 1, so that 1 becomes 2. So your answer here is 0,02. So you ignore the zeros when counting significant figures, but when presenting your answers, the zeros must be part of the final answer. So our final answer is 0,02. Right. Then we move on to the last question. Express 0,016. Right, in standard form. Right. So what is a standard form? A standard form is in the form a times 10 to the power of n, where a denotes a number which is between 1, right, up to 9. I hope you are following. So any number which is not in the range of 1 up to 9, right, must be adjusted. For example, 0,016 is less than 1. So we need to adjust it in a way that the number becomes 1 to 9 by placing a comma between 1 and 6. So it means that your A is going to become 1,6, where 1,6 is a number which is between the range 1 to 9. I hope you are following, class. Right. But whenever you encounter a number which starts with the 0, something, a number which starts with the 0, something, it means that that number has got a negative power. So it means that I'm going to put a negative sign first, and the power is going to be determined by the number of digits between the original comma and the placed comma. And the number of digits between the original comma and the placed comma are 2. So it means that I'm going to put negative 2. So my answer becomes 1,6 times 10 to the power of minus 2. And this is how you express it in standard form. I hope you are listening, class. Right. So if you had 0,3524 and you want to express it in standard form, the first thing, you put a comma between 3 and 5, so that 3,524 becomes a number which is between 1 to 9. Then you multiply by 10 to the power. Then I'm going to put a negative sign, the reason being my number is starting with the 0, something. Right. So the number of digits between the original comma and the placed comma denotes your power. I hope you are following, class. Right. But if you have 352 comma 4, and you want to express this in standard form, you put the comma between 3 and 5 like this, right? So your A becomes 3,524, right? But your power this time is going to be a positive power. For any number that does not start with 0, something, it produces a positive power, right? So how many digits do you have in between 2? So you multiply by 10 to the power of 2, then you are home and dry. So this is how you express numbers in standard form. Stay tuned as we move on to question number 3. We are now on question number 3, part A. It reads, evaluate 0,05 squared. So 0,05 squared, it means that 0,05 is multiplying itself twice. So you write 0,05 times 0,05. I hope you are listening, class. So what you need to do here, when multiplying decimal numbers, you start by ignoring the commas. So 5 times 5, you get what? You get 25, right? But we have 2 decimal places on the left side and 2 decimal places on the right side to make it a total of 4 decimal places. So it means that your final answer must have 4 digits after the comma. So I'm going to put 2 zeros to support the 25 so that we have 4 numbers after the comma. So your final answer is 0,025. Then you are home and dry. So I'm going to write 0,0025 as my answer there. All right. Then we move on to part B. Evaluate cube root of 0,027. Right, so to find the cube root of 0,027, the first thing to do is to express 0,027 as a fraction. So likewise, like what we did on 0,016, we divided 16 by 1000 because we had 2 decimal places. So in this case, I'm going to start by writing 27. Since we have 3 decimal places, it means I'm going to divide 27 by 1000. But there is a 3 here at this corner, which represents the cube root. So what is the meaning of cube root? Find the number which multiplies itself 3 times to get 27. So the number which multiplies itself 3 times to get 27 is 3. So you write 3. Find the number which multiplies itself 3 times to get 1000. Right. And that number is 10. Right. Like 3 times 3 times 3, you get 27. 10 times 10 times 10, you get 1000. So if you are asked to find the cube root of 27, your answer is 3, because you'll be looking for a number which multiplies itself 3 times to produce 27. If you are being asked to find the cube root of 1000, your cube root is 10, because you'll be looking for a number which multiplies itself 3 times to get 10. I hope you are listening. Right. So our answer here is 3 over 10. 3 over 10 is your answer, or you can write it as 0,3. I hope you are listening. Right. Then we move on to part C. Find 4 to the power of -1. Right. So we use the laws of indices. If x is raised by -a, the law states that it produces an inverse fraction, whereby you write 1 at the top, then x is going to be raised by a, representing your denominator. So we are going to do the same. 4 to the power of -1, right? I'm going to start by writing 1 at the top, but 4 is going to be raised by 1, the power, which is good as 1/4. So your answer here is 1 over 4. Then you are home and dry. So I want you to stay tuned as we move on to question number 4. Right, we are now on question number 4. It reads, a window is in the shape of a semicircle, radius 70 centimeters. So what is a semicircle, by the way? A semicircle represents half of a full circle. So this is a semicircle. And this line, we can label it AB. it is representing the diameter of that semicircle, right? So if the window is in the shape of a semicircle with a radius 70 meters, you need to understand that radius is the distance from the center to the circumference, right? So this is radius. It covers from A to this center O, right? So it means that we have 70 centimeters from A to O, and we have 70 centimeters from O to B. It means that the diameter of this semicircle is 140 centimeters. I hope you are listening, class. Right. Write down the length of the diameter. Diameter means 2 radius. So the length of the diameter is 140 centimeters, which is OA plus AB. I hope you are listening, class. Then move on to part B. Calculate the perimeter of the window. Right. So to calculate the perimeter of the window, perimeter is the distance right around the edge of the shape. So perimeter of a semicircle is found by using the arc AB. This is the arc AB, right? Then you add it with the diameter, where diameter is AB, right? So to find arc AB, right, you need to understand that length of arc is theta over 360 times pi d, where d stands for diameter. So on the center of a semicircle, we have 180 degrees as your angle. So I'm going to put 180 over 360 times pi. The question is instructing us to take pi as 22 over 7. So I'm going to put 22 over 7 on pi, multiply by the diameter, which is 140. I hope you are listening, class. Right. So 180 divided by 160. 180 into 180, you get 1. Then 180 into 360, you get 2. Since 180 divides in 60, right, by 2. Right. So after that, you can notice that 7. Let me start by writing 20 over 7 first, so that I can explain what I want to explain here. 7 is a factor of 1/4. So 7 into 7, you get 1. 7 into 140, you get 20. Since 7 into 14 is 2 and 7 into 0 is 0. Then 2 into 2 is 1 and 2 into 22 is 11. So your answer is going to be found by multiplying 11 and 20, where 0 is going to become your placeholder. 2 times 1, you get 2. 2 times 1, you get 2. Then if you multiply everything by 0, you get 0. So your final answer here is 220 centimeters. I hope you are listening, class. Right. We are now moving on to question number 5. It reads, express 4 times a to the power of 3 plus 3 times a to the power of 2 plus 5 times 8 as a number in base 8. I hope you are following, class. Right. So we have the shorter method and we have the longer method. Right. The shorter method is when someone understands that when you expand a number base, right, the bases, right, or the powers of 8, they start from 0. I hope you are listening. Right. So if 8 to the power of 3 is the highest power, it means that 4 times 8 to the power of 3 plus 3 times 8 to the power of 2 plus 5 times 8 is good as 8 to the power of 1. But since we do not have 8 to the power of 0, it means that there is a 0, which is multiplying 8 to the power of 0. So the powers of 8, they start from 0, 1, 2, 3, where 3 is the highest power in this case. Right. So your answer, right, is the coefficient, right, of the number which is multiplying 8 to the power of something. So it means that the first digit of your answer is 4, the second digit of your answer is 3, the third digit of your answer is 5, and the fourth digit of your answer is 0. So your answer is 4350 to base 8. Then you are home and dry. I hope you are listening, right? So the longer way is when someone multiplies, right, and add to find the sum, right? Then after finding the sum, the answer that is going to come out will be in base 10. Then you have to divide by base 8 to come out with your answer. Right, welcome to part B of the question. Evaluate 431 to base 5 minus 244 to base 5. Right, so 431 to base 5 minus 244 to base 5. I hope you are listening. Right, so what you need to do, right, if the number above is smaller than the number below, you need to support that number with the base. So 1 minus 4, it can't. So I'm going to cancel 1. But supporting 1 by 5, it means this number becomes 6. But whenever you support the number above with the base, you have to add 1 below. So this 4 becomes 5. 6 minus 4, you get 2. I hope you are listening. Then 3 minus 5, it can't. So I'm going to cancel out this 3 and support this 3 by 5 to get 8. So that I add 1 on 2 to get 3. Right, so 8 minus 5, you get 3. 4 minus 3, you get 1. So your answer is 132 to base 5. Then we are through with question number 5. Right, we are now on question number 6. It reads, factorize completely 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r squared. Right, so for you to factorize, you have to search for the factors, right, which will then form the highest common factor. So I'm going to start by the numbers. The highest common factor of 2 and 2 is 2. Then for the letters, the highest common factor of pi and pi is pi. Then the highest common factor of r and r squared, we have to take the r with the smallest power. So 2 pi r and 2 pi r, they cancel out each other, but you don't cancel. So if they cancel out each other, you'll be left with h. Then you put your plus. 2 into 2, you get 1. Pi into pi, you get 1. Then r into r squared, you get r. So this is your final answer. So let us write our answer here. 2 pi r, open bracket, h plus r. Then we move on to part B of the question. Express 4 over x plus 5 minus 3 over x as a single fraction in its simplest form. So 4 over x plus 5 minus 3 over x. The first thing to do is to identify the lowest common multiple. So the lowest common multiple is going to be found by multiplying your denominators. So you are going to multiply x and x plus 5, but you don't remove your brackets. So this is your LCM. Right, so I want you to notice something. X plus 5 and x plus 5, they cancel out each other, leaving you with this x. So that this x would then multiply the 4 above. Right, x and x, they are going to cancel out each other, leaving you with x plus 5. So that x plus 5 multiplies the 3 above. So this is the first thing, or the first stage. So we are now removing brackets and simplifying our numerator. X times 4, you get 4x. Minus 3 is going to multiply both x and plus 5. So I'm going to start with the x. Minus 3 times x, you get minus 3x. But before you multiply 3 and 5, you start by multiplying the signs first. So negative times positive, you get negative. Then 3 times 5, you get 15. But on the denominator, you don't expand, you leave it like that. Right, so 4x minus 3x, what do you get? You get x. Minus 15, right? Divided by x, open bracket, x plus 5. And this is your final answer. So I'm going to write it in this given space. X minus 15 divided by x, open bracket, x plus 5. Then you are home and dry. I hope you are following class. To question number 7, it reads, solve the simultaneous equations, right? So the idea here is to use the elimination method, whereby the coefficients of x must be the same. So x is good as 1x. So the coefficient of x in equation number 2 multiplies equation number 1. Then the coefficient of x in equation number 1, which is 2, is going to multiply equation number 2. I hope you are listening. So when multiplying, you have to multiply both sides, the left side and the right side. So I'm going to start by multiplying the left side. If we multiply by 1, it means equation number 1 is going to come out as it is. I hope you are listening. Then 2 times 1x, you get 2x. 2 times 2y, you get 4y. Then 2 times 8, you get 16. Then you put the negative signs in between the like terms. So 2x minus 2x, you get 0. Then this negative and this positive, they produce a negative. So it's 3y minus 4y. You get minus 1y. Right? Then 13 minus 16, you get minus 3. So you are dividing both sides by a negative 1. So y is equals to 3. Since negative and negative, they cancel out each other. Right? So to then find the value of x, you choose equation of your choice from the original equations. Right? Let us choose equation number 2. X plus 2y is equals to 8, right? So we want to find x. To find x, I'm going to put 3 on y. Right, so 2 times 3, you get 6. Then I'm going to move 6 to the right side. You get 8 minus 6. Therefore, x is equals to 2. I'm going to put 2 on x and 3 on y. Then you are home and dry. I hope you are following class. This is how you solve this equation. To question number 8, it reads, m varies directly as the square of d and inversely as q. This is what we call joint variation. Right, so what you need to do here, you start by writing m, then varies. You put the variation sign like this. Directly means take the terms as it is. So directly as the square of d. Square of d means d squared. So you are going to take d squared as it is. Then end means multiplication. So we multiply. Inversely. Inversely means 1 over something. So we are going to multiply by 1 over. Inversely as q. So 1 over q. I hope you are listening. So this is the first thing to do. Right. So after placing the variation sign, we then need to remove the variation sign by introducing an equal sign. But the introduction of an equal sign is going to trigger the constant of proportionality, right, to multiply the right side. Right. So the entire terms on the right side are going to be multiplied by the constant of proportionality. And in this question, the constant is k. Right. So it means that d squared times 1 over q are going to be multiplied by the constant of proportionality, which is k, for you to introduce the equal sign. Right. So if we multiply, d squared is good as d squared over 1. So it's d squared times 1 times k. You get k d squared. Then 1 times q, you get q. So this is the first part of the question. This is how you express m in terms of d, q, and the constant k. So I'm going to write my answer. M is equals to k d squared over q. Then you get yourself a single mark. Right, we move on to part B. Find k given that m is equals to 6, d is equals to 4, and q is equals to 8. So m is equals to 6, d is equals to 4, and q is equals to 8 is a complete set that we are going to substitute in the formula that we have wrote in part A. So on m, I'm going to put 6. Then I'm going to leave k as it is. Then on d, d is 4. So you are going to come out with 4 squared, right? And q is 8, then you put 8, right? So we would like to do the skill of cross multiplication. So if we cross multiply, it means that 8 times 6, you get 48. right, is equals to k. Then 4 squared, it produces 16. So to find k, I need to divide both sides by 16. I hope you are listening. So 16 and 16, they cancel out each other, right? But what is the factor of 16 and 48? The factor of 16 and 48 is 16 itself, right? So 16 into 16, you get 1. But 16 into 48, you get 3. So it means that k is equals to 3. And this is your final answer. You are home and dry. We are now moving on to question number 9. Right, question number 9 is a question which is in line with the topic of sets, right? We are given that the number of universal elements is equals to 20, the number of terms x is equals to 15, and the number of terms y is equals to 8. Find y complement, right? So we need to start by drawing a Venn diagram. So if we draw a Venn diagram, we are going to have 2 circles intersecting each other like this, where this circle is represented by y, and this circle by x, and this circle is represented by y. Then we put our Venn diagram where the box represents the universal set. Right. So the number of universal set is equals to 20. It means that I'm going to write 20 on this universal box. Right. Then the number of x is 15. So you have to write 15 on the circumference of the circle x, but you don't write it inside. Since 15 is covering everything inside the set x, it's covering this portion and this portion. So you don't write 15 inside, but you write it on the circumference or at the circumference of x. Same applies, number of y is equals to 8. It means that I'm going to put 8 on the circumference like this. I hope you are listening, class. Right. So, what is the number of terms with both x and y? That number is unknown. I hope you are listening, class. So I'm going to put x here to represent the unknown number, right? Then this is represented by 15 minus x, right? And this is represented by x what? X minus 8 minus x. So to find the x, you now say 15 minus x plus 8 minus x. Then you equate everything to 20, where 20 is the total sum of the universal set, right? So minus x plus x, they produce a 0. So you'll be left out with 15 plus 8 minus x is equals to 20, right? So 15 plus 8, you get 23. Minus x is equals to 20, right? Then I'm going to put 20 on my left side. You have 23 minus 20, right? Then you put x on the right side. It means that 3 is representing x. I hope you are following, class, right? So if 3 is representing x, it means that 15 minus 3, the number of terms representing x only is 12. Then I'm going to put 3 where 3 is the number representing both x and y. Then 8 minus 3, you get 5, and this 5 is representing y only. So 12 is representing x only. 3 is representing both x and y, and 5 is representing y only. I hope you are listening, class, right? So that 12 plus 3 plus 5, you get 20, right? So what is the question now? The question is requiring someone to find the number of y complement. Y complement means find the sum of elements which are not in set y. So these numbers which are not in set y, we have 12. 3 and 5 are going to be excluded since they are part of set y. So our answer is 12, which is the total number of elements outside set y. So I'm going to write 12 as my solution for part A. I hope you are listening, class. Right. So I want you to stay tuned as we move on to part B and part C of the question. Right. Part B of the question, it reads, find the largest possible value of nx intersection y. Right. So what you need to understand is you draw a Venn diagram using two situations, and out of those two situations you'll be able to find the largest or the smallest. Right. So the first situation, right, is the subset situation. You can notice that x is greater than y, right? So when writing the subset situation, right, x is going to represent the outer set and y is going to represent the inner set. So in simple terms, we are saying y is a subset of x. Y is inside x. So this is the first situation. Then the second situation is not an element of. If you have e being cancelled like this, it indicates not an element of. So for not an element of, you write circle x and circle y in such a way that these two circles, they do not intersect each other. And this is your universal set, this is your universal set. Right, so whenever you come across a question asking you the largest possible value or the smallest possible value, you start by drawing these two situations, the subset situation and the not of an element of situation. So we are going to work out x intersection y both sides. After working with both sides, we then identify which side is giving the largest possible value. Then that side becomes your final answer. I hope you are listening, class. So let us concentrate on the left side first. Remember, 20 is the number of universal set. So it means that I'm going to put 20 here. I hope you are following, class. Right. Then x is representing 15. So 15 is going to be written on the circumference of x. Right. Then 8 is representing y. So even if we write 8 on the circumference, it means that 8 is representing the entire circle of y. So you can just write 8 inside of y. I hope you are listening. Right. But there is this region. If we take this as a disc or a DVD, the shiny part of the DVD is the region that I'm talking about. How many terms do we have in that shiny part? You say 15 minus 8. It means in this shiny part, the one that I have shaded, we have 7 terms. I hope you are listening. So that 8 terms plus 7 terms, they give you the 15 on the circumference. I hope you are following, class. Right. So what is the number of x intersection y on this left side? X intersection y, they are representing the number of terms found in both y and x. Right. So a simple example is, let's say we have Africa. We have Africa. Right. And this is Zimbabwe. This is Zimbabwe. So the smaller circle is representing Zimbabwe and the bigger circle is representing Africa. And the examiner is asking you to find Africa intersection Zimbabwe. You find out Africa intersection Zimbabwe, your answer is Zimbabwe. Why? Because Zimbabwe is found in Zimbabwe at the same time Zimbabwe is found in Africa. So Zimbabwe intersection Africa, your answer is Zimbabwe, since Zimbabwe is in both Zimbabwe and Africa. I hope you are listening. So in simple terms, if you have a subset like this and you are being asked to find x intersection y, your answer is y. Why? Because y is in y and y is in x at the same time. So your answer here is 8. I hope you are listening. Right. Then we move on to the right side. I'm going to put 20 on the universal total. Then 15 on x, right? Then 8 on y, which is good as 15 here and 8 there. Then what is the number of x intersection y? Not an element of, it means that x and y, they don't walk together or they don't work out together, or they don't intersect. So it means x intersection y here is 0, right? So 0 represents the smallest value of x intersection y. At the same time, 8 represents the largest value. So the question here is requiring the largest value. So the largest value, your answer there is 8. Then on part A, we got our answer is what? Is 12, right? So 8 is the largest. So let's say the question asks you to find the smallest possible value of x intersection y. Your answer was going to be 0. I hope you are listening. But since it is asking the largest possible value, your answer is 8. We move on to part C. Find the smallest possible value, right, of x union y. Union means join together. So what you need to do, you find number of x union y on the left side, and you also find the number of x union y on the right side. Then you compare the two answers, the smallest and the largest. Right, so x union y on the left side, it means that I'm going to add 8 plus 7. Right, so 8 plus 7, x union y on the left side is 15. You do not add 8 and 15. Why? Because if you add 8 plus 15, you end up repeating the shiny part of the disk, which is 7. So when calculating the union of x union y, you say 8 plus 7, which is good as 15. Then on the right side, this is whereby you add 15 plus 8 to find union, and you get 23. So 23 represents the largest, 15 represents the smallest. So what is the requirement of the question? Smallest. So the smallest, your answer is 15. But if right, we are now on question number 10. It reads, the diagram shows the straight line L which cuts the x-axis at 6, 0 and the y-axis at 0, minus 4. Right, find the equation of line L. So line L, they are representing this line, right? So the equation of a straight line is y is equals to mx plus c. Y is equals to mx plus c is the equation of straight line, where m denotes the gradient and c the y-intercept. So what is the y-intercept? If you have y-axis and x-axis, right, and you have a straight line cutting both y-axis and the x-axis, right, the point of intersection between the straight line and the y-axis is c, which is the y-intercept. So if you want to identify c, you just need to look at the point of intersection between the straight line and the y-axis, and in this case they are intersecting at minus 4. So it means that our c is negative 4. I hope you are following class, right? So how do you find m? M can be found in two ways, right? So the first way is m is equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you have to identify any 2 points which are lying on this L straight line, and those 2 points have been given as 6, 0. This is 6, 0, and we have 0 and minus 4. I hope you are listening. So let 6, 0 be x1, let 0 be y1, let 0 be x2, let minus 4 be y2. I hope you are following. So if we are to substitute those figures in this formula, on y2 I'm going to put negative 4, right? Then on y1 I'm going to put 0. On x2 I'm going to put 0. Then on x1 I'm going to put 6. So minus 4 minus 0, you get minus 4. 0 minus 6, you get minus 6. Negative and negative are going to cancel out each other, and 2 is a factor of 4 and 6. So 2 into 4 you get 2, and 2 into 6 you get 3. So it means that m is equals to 3. So the equation of the straight line is written as y is equals to, we put 2/3 on m. So this is 2/3 x, right? And our c is negative 4. So you write 2/3 x minus 4. So I'm going to present my answer. y is equals to 2 over 3x minus 4 is our final answer, right? So another way of identifying the gradient was to make use of this triangle above the straight line, right? Whereby m is denoted as delta y divided by delta x, or a change in y over change in x, right? So you can notice that from 0 up to 6 we have 6 units. Then from 0 up to minus 4 you don't write minus 4 since the number of units are positive. So from 0 up to minus 4 we have 4 units, right? So 6 units is the delta x since 6 is on the x-axis. 4 units is the delta y, or the change in y, since 4 units is on the y-axis. But since your line is heading towards the rightward direction, it means that you come out with a positive gradient. So on delta y you put 4. Then on delta x you put 6, where 4 over 6 is 2/3. So this is another way of finding your gradient, right? But if you are not skilled enough, I advise you to use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Why? Because this skill of delta y over delta x, it requires someone who is able to understand whether your answer is going to come out as a negative or a positive. If this line was heading on the leftward direction, our answer was going to be negative. So you have to start by putting the negative sign first before you divide 4 and 6. So sometimes students, they forget to put that negative sign in that situation. So if you want to get everything correct, you just make use of y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I want you to stay tuned as we move on to number 10b. Find the equation of line M parallel to line L and passing through origin. Whenever you see this word origin, just know that the line is passing through 0, 0. Right. So for you to find the equation of the straight line, you start by writing the form y is equals to mx plus c. Right. So since it is passing through the origin, right, what you need to understand is this is y-axis and this is x-axis, right? And 0, 0 is the origin, right? So if your line is passing through the origin, it means that the line is cutting y-axis at 0. I hope you are listening. Therefore, c is equals to 0, right? Then to find m, we make use of this word parallel, right? Parallel to line L, it means that line M and line L, they share the same gradient. So if the gradient of line L, right, was 2/3, it means that the gradient of line M is also 2/3. Whenever you see this, it means that they share a common gradient. So I'm now writing my answer. Y is equals to 2 over 3, which was the gradient of L, similar to the gradient of M. Then you put x. But since it is passing through the origin, it means that it is the line M is cutting y-axis at 0. So 0 become your C, which is the y-intercept. So our answer is very simple here. Y is equals to 2 over 3x. Then you are main try. I hope you are listening, class. Right. But take, for example, you may be asked to find the line M which is not passing through the origin. Maybe the line may be passing through the point which is 2, 1. And the 2, 1 is not the origin. How are you going to find that line? The first thing to do, you write y is equals to 2 over 3x plus c. Since M and L, they share a common gradient. But c will not be found by just mere looking, since you are given 2, 1. 2, 1 is not the point of intersection between y-axis and the straight line. So to then find c, you make use of the skill of substitution, where x is representing 2 and y is representing 1. So on y you put 1, 2 over 3. Then on x you put 2 plus c like this. You come out with 1 is equals to 2 times 2, you get 4 over 3, right, plus c. Then you move 4 over 3 on your left. You come out with 1 minus 4 over 3 is equals to c. I hope you are following, class. Right. So 1 is good as 3 over 3. So 3 minus 4, you get minus 1 over 3 is equals to c. So this is how you find c in a situation whereby you are not given the origin or the value of y when x is 0. Right. Let us move on to question number 11. Right. We are now on question number 11. It reads, in the diagram, the straight line L cuts across two parallel lines A, B, and C, D. Right. Write down the special name given to the line with respect to the parallel lines. So what you need to understand is the line which cuts or which passes through the parallel lines, this line, is known as the transverse line or the transversal line. So your answer here is transverse line. Or you can write transversal line. Then you get your 1 mark. We move on to part B. Write down the equation in simplest form connecting M and P. Right. So where is M and where is P? Right. If you have parallel lines, and there is a transverse like this angle and this angle, we refer to them as F angles or corresponding angles. These are angles which follow the same sequence or the same pattern, and those angles are equal. So if you have 30 degrees here, right? If you have 30 degrees here, it means that you also have 30 degrees here. If we have the third parallel line, we have another 30 degrees there. We call them corresponding or F angles. They are equal. I hope you are listening. Right. So, how do you connect M and P? Since M and P are corresponding angles, it means that M is equals to P. So your answer here is M is equals to P. Then you get yourself a single mark. We move on to part 2 of the question. Write down the equation connecting N and P. This is N and this is P. Whenever you have parallel lines, right, and this is X and this is Y, those angles on the same side, we refer to them as allied angles or co-interior angles. They add up to 180. So if you take X and you add X with Y, X plus Y, you have 180 degrees. I hope you are listening, class. So I'm going to write my equation as follows. N plus P. Since N and P are allied angles, they must add to 180. So N plus P is equals to 180 degrees. Then you get yourself another mark. We move on to the last one. N connecting N and Q. Where is N? Where is Q? If you have parallel lines and the transverse line, this angle and this angle are equal to each other through the concept of Z angles. This angle and also this angle are equal to each other through the concept of Z angles. We call them Z angles or alternate angles. So this angle and this angle are equal, this angle and this angle are equal. I hope you are following. So you can notice that angle N and angle Q are alternate angles or are Z angles, right? Hence, they must be equal to each other. I hope you are listening, class. So, I'm going to write N is equals to Q. Then you get yourself the 3 marks. So, let us move on to the next question, which is question number 3. Right. The table shows some scores and their corresponding frequencies. Find the mode. Mode represents the number or the quantity with the highest frequency. So to find the mode, you identify the highest number on the frequency. The highest number on the frequency is 10, but 10 is not your answer. Your answer is the quantity above 10, and that quantity is 15. So our mode is equals to 15. So I'm going to write 15 as my solution for part A. Then move on to the next question. Find the median. So to find the median, the first thing to do, you draw what you call a cumulative frequency row below the frequency. So you start by writing 5. 5 plus 10, you get 15. 15 plus 8, you get 23. 23 plus 5, you get what? 28, right? Then 28 plus 2, you get what? You get 30. right? So 30 is an even number. So to find median, you make use of the formula half of n. So I'm going to put 30, since the total number of frequency is 30. 5 plus 10 plus 8 plus 5 plus 2, you get 30. So half of 30, you get 15. Not to say that 15 is your answer, but 15 is the observation. We are trying to say that the median that you are looking for is the quantity number 15, when all quantities are arranged in ascending order, right? So 15, right, is found in this cumulative frequency, right? So if 15 is found in this 15, it means that your median is aligned, or the value of the score, or the value of x, which is aligned to this 15, and that value is 15, which is above. So your answer here is 15, right? So I'm writing 15 as my answer, not that I'm using this 15 as the answer, no, but 15 is the quantity which is above. I hope you are following. So if we had something like 7 here on 15 here, 7 was going to be your answer, since that 7 is the value of x aligned to this 15, where 15 is representing the 15th value. I hope you are listening, class, right? We move on to part C. Find the mean. Mean is found using the formula summation of xf over n. So xf is found by multiplying the number above and the number below. So 5 times 5, you get 25. 15 times 10, you get 150. 25 times 8, 25 times 8. So 8 times 5, this is 40, carry 4. Then 2 times the 8, you get 16 plus 4, this is 20. So you get 200. Then 35 times 5, 35 times 5, right? This is 25, so it's 5 carry 2. 5 times 2, 5 times 3, you get 15 plus 2, you get 17. So I'm going to write 175 there. I hope you are listening, right? Then 45 times 2, you get 90. Then you divide everything by 30, where 30 is the total number, right, of the elements, right? So after that, to find the mean, I'm going to add the sum of the numerator. So 25, 150, 200, 175, 90. I'm going to arrange them vertically so that I add. 5 plus 5, you get 10. Carry 1. Then 2 plus 5, this is 7. 7 plus 7, you get what? 14. 14 plus 9, you get what? 23. 23 plus 1, you get what? 24. So you write 4, carry 2. 1 plus 2 plus 1, you get 4, plus the carry 2. 4 plus 2, you get what? 6. So it means that we have 640 divided by 30. 0 and 0, they cancel out each other, right? So what is 3 into 6? 3 into 6 is 2. What is 3 into 4? 3 into 4 is 1, remainder 1 over 3. So your mean here, right? Your mean here is 21 and a third. I hope you are listening, class, right? Since 3 into 64 is 21, remainder 1 and a third. Then you are home and dry. Right, we are now on question number 13, which is in line of transformation. Right. Write down the column vector, which translates triangle T onto triangle T1. This is triangle T and this is triangle T1. And this is translation. Why? Because the image has maintained the original sitting position of the original triangle. Right. So to find the translation vector, you use the formula T plus original is equals to image. So you have to choose a common point, right? For example, this top point is identical to this top point. What are the coordinates of this top point? We have 2 and 3. What are the points here? We have 10 for x and 6 for y, right? Any combination, as long as you have chosen a pair of identical, you will still come out with the same answer. So someone can use this corner and this corner, the answer is the same as this corner and this corner. Or someone can use this corner and this corner. So I have chosen the top corner and the top corner. Right. So since this is triangle T is representing your original and this is your image. So T, right, plus original. The points 2, 3, I will then write them as a column vector, where 2, the value of x is on the top, and 3, the value of y is on the bottom. We do the same on the image, putting 10 as x and 6 as y. Then you make T the subject of the formula by moving 2, 3 to the right side. So 10 minus 2, you get 8. 6 minus 3, you get 3. So your column vector is 8, 3. So this is the first solution, 8 on top and 3 on the bottom. You get yourself a single mark for that. Describe fully a single transformation which maps triangle T onto triangle T2. Right, so if you can clearly notice the movement from T to T2, right, this is not congruence. So your answer is not going to be translation, reflection, or rotation. Why? Both translation, reflection, or rotation, they maintain what you call congruency. Right. So our answer, right, is going to be shear. Why? Because enlargement cannot be our answer since T and T2 are not similar. Right. So we are going to make use of shear. I hope you are listening, class. Right. So how do you describe? The first thing to write here, you write this is shear. If you write shear, you get yourself a single mark by writing shear. I hope you are listening, right? So, to then find or to describe shear, you need to describe shear using what you call invariant line, right? Then you also need what you call shear factor. So, how do you identify invariant line? And what is invariant line? Invariant line means line which is fixed, right? Right, we are now moving on to question number 14. Right, given that f of x is equals to x squared minus 9, find f of 7. So this is a matter of substitution. To find f of 7, you just need to make sure that you put 7 on each and every value of x. So you get 7 squared minus 9. 7 squared is 7 times 7, which is 49. So 49 minus 9, you get yourself 40. I hope you are listening. So my answer here is 40. Right. Then we move on to part B. Find the values of x for which f of x is equals to 16. Right. So if you are given that f of x is equals to 16, you don't put 16 on x, but you have to formulate a quadratic equation. Since f of x is good as x squared minus 9, I'm going to put x squared minus 9 on the left side to represent f of x, then equate everything to 16. Right. So how do you solve this equation? We need to make x the subject of the formula by crossing minus 9 to the right side. So you get x squared is equals to 16 plus 9. I hope you are listening, class. So what is 16 plus 9? 16 plus 9, you get 25. Right. How do you make x the subject of the formula? You will make x the subject of the formula by extracting a square root both sides. But when placing the square root on the right side, you put plus or minus, so that you get two distinct roots. You can even see that the examiner wants you to write two different answers. Right. So what is the square root of 25? You get 5. But since there is a plus or minus, we have 5 or negative 5. So my answer is 5 or negative 5. Then you are home and dry. Then we move on to question number 15. 15, it reads, find m squared. So m squared is good as m times m, like this. So you put 1 minus 1 minus 1, 3. 1 minus 1 minus 1, 3, like this. M is multiplying itself twice. So if a 2 by 2 matrix multiplies a 2 by 2 matrix, you come out with a 2 by 2 matrix. So I'm going to represent it with the following brackets that I'm going to find. Right? How do you multiply matrices? You make use of the rule row times column. So rows are found in the first bracket, columns are found in the second bracket. Right? So to find this top bracket, you need to choose row 1 minus 1, which is the top row. Then you multiply this top row with your first column, which is 1 and minus 1. So 1 times 1, you get 1. Minus 1 times minus 1, you get what? You get plus 1. I hope you are following. Right. Then to find this top bracket, you choose 1 and minus 1, the top row. Then multiply it with minus 1 and 3, the second column. So 1 times minus 1, you get minus 1. Then minus 1 times 3, you get minus 3. Right. Then to find the bottom bracket, you make use of the bottom row, which is minus 1, 3. Multiply it with 1 and minus 1. So minus 1 times 1, you get minus 1. 3 times minus 1, you get minus 3. Then to find the last bracket, you say minus 1 times minus 1, you get 1. And 3 times 3, you get 9. So this is 2 here. Minus 1 minus 3, you get minus 4. Minus 1 minus 3, you get minus 4. 1 plus 9, you get 10. And this is your final answer. So I'm going to write my answer here. 2 minus 4 minus 5 and 10. You get yourself 2 marks for that. Right? Find x given that n has no inverse. A matrix without inverse. If you see this word has no inverse, it means that matrix, we refer to it as a singular matrix. Any matrix without inverse, we refer to that matrix as a singular matrix. A singular matrix is a matrix whereby determinant of that matrix is 0. So whenever you see no inverse or this word singular, it means that the matrix has got, or the determinant of n is 0. I hope you are following. So how do you find determinant? Bracket minus bracket. So bracket minus bracket must be equated to 0. I hope you are following. So this is branch 1 and this is branch 2. In the first bracket, you put the product of brackets of terms in branch 1. So you have 1 times 6 here. Then in the second bracket, you multiply the terms in branch 2, which is x times minus 2. So 1 times 6, you get 6. Then minus times minus, you get plus. X times 2, you get 2x is equals to 0. So 2x is equals to minus 6. You put 6 on your right side, it mutates its original sign to become a negative 6. Then divide both sides by 2. You come out with x is equals to minus 3. So x is equals to minus 3 is your final answer. Then you are home and dry. I hope you are listening, class. Right. So this brings to the end of today's lesson. We shall continue with our revision tomorrow so that we can finish up the whole paper. So we are done with the first 15 questions. Till we meet again, shalom.